So I don't have a cup of tea this time because I already drank it. I actually spent so long trying to debate what I was going to talk about that I managed to completely drink my cup of tea, so I don't have to worry about that going cold or worrying about having to edit that out. So some smart. I'm being smart. I've thought ahead. So anyway, hello and welcome back to The Lion's Den. I'm your host Matt as always, and I want to talk about how weird I am. There is a context to that statement. I promise. We'll get on to it. So I was thinking about it the other night because I was talking to my friend who I believe is doing psychology or something in that related area, that kind of field, and they were talking about sort of personalities and whatnot, and the fact that there's this thing called the Myers-Briggs personality test, which is the first thing that everybody goes to, yet it's been scrutinized academically as being completely worthless outside of just a bit of a cheap party trick, because the concept is that you can do the test and get one result, and then a week later do the test again and get a completely different result because it's just too statistically invalid. There's too much variability in it, and your answers can change depending on the mood, your time of day, the current weather conditions, whether Aquarius is aligned with Virgo in the sky. It's not very accurate. I think the only thing it's probably quite accurate for is whether you're an introvert or an extrovert, but then even that's still kind of wrong because things like that are a sliding scale. Most things in life actually to do with human beings are sliding scales because no one person ever fits exactly into a category that we make. That's the very big problem with humans, is that we are very good at understanding discrete things, but not very good at understanding continuous things. And unfortunately, human beings are continuous. We label people as by metrics. We say, "Oh, I'm 5'9", but really, I'm probably 5'9", 3/4 of an inch plus a millimeter. There is no exact measurement that is a round number for my height, for example. And it's the same with things like your personality. I'm very confusing, even to myself, because I understand that I am more of an introvert than an extrovert, but I have a lot of traits of an extroverted person that help me, but which make it complicated because trying to satisfy both sides is weird. So that's why I say it's a scale, because for me personally, I do enjoy being myself, I enjoy being alone, I find solitude and comfort doing whatever I want, but I do also have those moments where I really want to be around people, I want to be doing something with someone else, or I want to go out into the world and do activities that involve other people, because I think that's kind of basic human condition, but my preference probably does lean towards personal time. But then I get weird stuff where I want to be at home playing video games but with people, so that I'm alone but with people. If that makes sense, it's kind of bizarre. So it does lead to me being a weird mix of different traits. I think one of the other weird mixes is that I am quite a quiet person in general. Mainly I think because of my upbringing and how to act around other people. This is kind of what I was taught, or what I developed into and learnt to understand. Everybody says I'm a very good listener, mainly because I don't talk. If someone's talking to me, I try my best not to interject or say things that aren't potentially necessary. I just sit there and listen and then respond when it's my turn. But the funny thing is, when I'm in my zone, focusing on doing work or something, I'm very quiet. Or when I'm having lunch or at a social situation, I'm also very quiet unless asked something. But when I'm in my alternative, comfortable, happy place, i.e. playing games with friends, I'm the complete opposite. I am so loud, which is a huge problem. I'm really high energy. I'm really into it. There's a lot of emotion coming through me all in one go, which may be a sign of other things. I don't know. I'm not a psychologist or a therapist, but it's very funny that I kind of just switch from two completely different sides. The loudness thing is hilarious because it's really fun, right? It's really fun to be loud and to be excited and to get into something. And obviously other people, my friends, will play off that energy and it's really nice and enjoyable. It can be a little bit alarming and surprising to some people because you see me and I might be quite reserved and quiet when I start, and then when I hit something really excited and fun, I just suddenly go through the roof and you're like, oh, what is this guy doing? No, calm down. And some people have had to tell me to calm down, which is fair because, you can't tell how much energy you're giving because you're inside, you're not an external point of view, so that's always helpful. It has led to situations though where I'm, say, playing Smash Bros at night with friends, and obviously I don't mind staying up till like 1 o'clock in the morning playing Smash Bros with my friends, but if I'm on a voice call being loud and other people are going to sleep, that's a problem. Which did lead me into, I saw a video for this kind of voice muffler thing, where essentially it's got a microphone and stuff built into a face mask that's also designed to isolate your sound. So you can still have a voice call over the internet with this thing, but it also reduces the noise that's projected into space. So in theory, other people can sleep or just not hear you as much. Because I have often been told to be quiet or to calm down and stuff or to stop. And I'm just there like, oh, it's not as fun, right? When you're really into something and really enjoying it, you want to express that. And sometimes you can't help how much you're expressing your emotions because it's a hard thing to control. When your body just kind of goes, woo! Yeah, if I could find something like that would dampen the sound of my voice so I can still enjoy and do things the way I'm doing them currently, but without affecting others, that would be awesome. The ultimate goal is to get a place of my own. But that's not happening anytime soon, so yeah, there are lots of other interesting traits. I'm very good at being a leader whilst not being the leader, which is perhaps a little bit of a contradiction in terms. I often don't like being the head of something or being, if you want to be literal, the leader of, say, a group project. I'm not a huge fan of that because I tend to give people information raw, which is not necessarily the best way to do it. And oftentimes it can come off a bit rude or a bit blunt, which isn't the best leader kind of trait. But when I'm sat as a member in a group, I oftentimes know how to kind of put my foot down and progress something, especially if I'm convinced that the thing I'm doing is correct. Which oftentimes it's not correct, oftentimes it is correct. That's why you have other people to kind of give you an outside perspective. But if I know something is what we're supposed to be doing and the way that we want to go forward, I will just kind of do it and take charge and perhaps take people with me and lead them, even though I'm not the direct leader, if that makes sense. I quite like being almost that sort of second in command position. You know, people understand I have ideas and good reasoning and good logic as to why we should do things a certain way, and they will follow me, but they know that there's someone above me who has ultimate decision over everything that's going on, which I also quite enjoy because it means even if I do something wrong, there's a fallback, there's someone else who can hopefully get us back on track and reorganize things. That's not to say I don't mind taking complete control and complete charge, but I lack that quality of reassurance, I think, that makes people go, yeah, I trust you, I understand you, I'm happy to follow you, I'm happy to understand and take on board what you're telling me and just follow what you tell me to do. If that kind of makes sense. It's confusing, to say the least, in terms of how to convey where I stand on that. But I've never run into problems with it. People have always been able to get on with me. I'm also very good at getting on with other people to achieve a common goal, which is really handy. I think when it comes to being a proper full leader, I don't have that experience, mainly just because, again, I come back to that idea that I'm an introvert. So I tend to do a lot of stuff by myself. I just kind of get stuff done in my own world because I know how to do it and what to do. Once I'm very comfortable with the process or I'm proficient at doing some sort of activity, I will just kind of take it to its logical extreme to get it done efficiently and effectively and make sure that it's not falling behind or out of place. So that can be a hindrance, that can also be very helpful, depends on the scenario. To me, it's also just kind of worked, I think is the best way to say it. I've never really run into significant issues with it. I do oftentimes have disagreements with people, mainly just because I think that's pride talking, which I think everybody sort of has, that you think, yeah, I'm right, I know what I'm doing. And when somebody challenges you and potentially makes an observation that is correct, it's hard to then back down because you're like, well, I don't want to appear stupid because I said I was right and I'm actually wrong. But I think you appear stupider if you don't back down rather than actually owning up and saying, right, yeah, I'm sorry, you're right, I was wrong, follow on from what you said now. It's a delicate balancing act, and it's things that you just need to experience and learn from, because I hate it when people are like, oh, you should learn from other people. Yeah, you can only learn from other people to a certain extent, because there are a lot of things that are dependent, again, on personality, what kind of person you are, what kind of person you're dealing with, but also it's how you internalize and understand situations that really boils down to having to actually experience it. People can tell you, oh, if you're wrong, own up to it, but that's hard, right? Until you've actually been in that scenario, and until you try both ways of not owning up to it and digging deeper, or owning up to it and seeing how the other person reacts, do you really understand it fully and actually internalize it yourself? I don't know where I went with this conversation. It went very off-piste. Oh well. I hope you've enjoyed listening. Hope you've enjoyed this slight psychoanalysis into my mind. Just remember that everything is fluid, to be perfectly honest. Literally from your personality to your gender to your identity, everything is fluid. And what do fluids do best? They just go with it. So I think that will be what I'll leave you off on, is just go with it, enjoy it, and try not to resist too much, because that's where the problems come from, is when you resist. So anyway, I'll see you all next week. Bye.